What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, we have gotten some amazing Bitcoin news over the last 24 hours. We're seeing some amazing signs from the charts and some amazing signs from the fundamentals. And so I'm going to update you on all of those today because the key purpose of this channel is to keep you as updated as possible on the macro crypto market and Bitcoin specifically. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. We're going to start off with the technicals, then we're going to head over to the fundamentals, then we're going to head into the news. So looking at the technical side of things when it comes to Bitcoin specifically, you can see that it has now almost completed this move that we've been talking about. Of course, what you all know is that we have been speaking about this for, over on my main channel, we've been talking about this for almost about a year now. But over on this channel, at least 2 or 3 months, we've been talking about the fact that Bitcoin's price at some given point is going to try to make this 1.618 Fibonacci extension. Now, what this quite simply means is that from this previous move that we made, this macro move from this previous high all the way down to that little mini bear market low, we are going to be able to see a retracement through this entire move down to the downside, extend past that move to the downside, and push upwards up towards the $95,000 level based on the Fibonacci extension tool. And what you can see here is that is exactly what Bitcoin's price is currently doing, nearly finishing that move towards the upside, which is some absolutely fantastic news. You always want to see these things being able to fully extend, fully finish these moves that we especially are looking for, especially on the Fibonacci's, because it validates that the move we're making right now isn't just random or irrational. It's moving with intention and purpose, and it's hitting these true strong levels as it's supposed to. So a fantastic sign there from the charts. I love what I'm seeing. Of course, I do expect once we hit that level, things could get a little bit shaky between $95,000 and $100,000. So I'm personally not going crazy. I'm not buying on leveraged long or anything like that right now. I am just kind of sitting back, waiting and watching, but I do love the fact that we're getting this great news that Bitcoin's price has now almost finished this full extension up to that $95,000 price target that we've had here for months and months and months. Now, guys, don't forget, if you do want to trade a little bit of Bitcoin yourself on up to 500x leverage, even though I don't recommend 500x leverage, you can check out that BTCC link down below. Now, guys, if you do sign up with that BTCC link down below, they're going to give you a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. This means that if you deposit $2,000, they're going to give you $200 right there on the spot, guaranteed to trade. And say, for example, if you turn that into $1,000, all that profit you make from that bonus they give you is yours. You get to keep it. You can literally make free gains, so you need to check that out down below. This is one of the best deals I've ever put together, and I don't quite simply know how long I'm going to have it. Hundreds of you have signed up for it, so they might end up letting, I can't use this forever because that is a very, very good deal. So do check that out and let me know what you think. Now, moving into the fundamentals, what I want to focus in on today is what we are seeing from the liquidation heat map, and I actually want to focus on liquidation heat map model 2 because this one's painting a clear picture that I want you guys to see. So what I've told you all rather frequently and consistently is that crypto is going to move in the general direction of the most liquidations. And what I mean by that is that in these moments in which we see an accumulation of liquidations in one direction or another, it's the most likely direction that you're going to go. The only thing that can stop that, though, is depending on the market that you're in. Say, for example, if you're in a bear market, Bitcoin's at, what's a good one? Bitcoin's at $20,000 and there's a bunch of liquidations at $50,000, but we're in a bear market. Things are bad. Maybe we're in a recession. Maybe there's a war going on, something like that, right? Realistically, we know the only reason those liquidations are up there that high is because people are going so they're going short on it, but they're not going short on a ton of leverage. Right? And so the reason they're going short is because we're in a bear market. It's not because they're overextended or that they're trying to be greedy. No, they're just getting naturally liquidated if this market for some reason goes that high, that fast in the middle of a bear market, which is extremely unlikely. So the only exception to the liquidation rule is whenever something is far away. If liquidations are far away in the opposite direction of the general trend. And so what we can see is happening right now is something rather interesting. Because as Bitcoin's price is pushing up towards $100,000, I am actually shocked at the lack of liquidations below us. Sure, there are some liquidations around $44,000, and that's why I mentioned that example to you just now. I think Bitcoin hitting $44,000 from here is not impossible, don't get me wrong, but that is incredibly unlikely. It's incredibly unlikely. If this was a normal market, it wouldn't be unlikely. A 50% fall from here is not impossible. But the fact that we now have these ETFs coming in, all of these inflows, all of this purchasing, the lizard people behind those trillion-dollar companies literally cannot afford for this to happen, and I genuinely don't think they would allow for this to happen. And so because of this, although there are some liquidations way down here, I don't even think they're really applicable, quite simply because they are so far away from the general macro trend, like I mentioned in the previous example. And so what that means is that what we're seeing right now is a lacking of a reason for this market to crash. Of course, there could be bad news. Of course, there's going to be general cooldowns and pullbacks, right? But what we're seeing right now is that people, although they are on leverage and they are going long, they're not going stupidly long. When people go stupidly long, it looks like this, right? It looks like these yellow bars that we're seeing right here, but under. And it means that if this market, say, goes to 80,000, boom, there's going to be $1 billion worth of liquidation. So of course it's going to go back to 80,000. Of course it will. It's what it does. But we're not seeing that right now because people are playing smart and people aren't being stupid. And when you do that, because again, being smart and not being stupid are not the same thing, but again, in my opinion, but overall, totally, what this means is that we're not causing a reason for this market to have to crash. As I mentioned before, sure, it might pull back. Sure, we might see this bad boy come back towards 85,000 and try to find some support. That's totally fine. But we're not opening up a reason for it to crash. And that alone is extremely bullish because it opens up the door for this market to be able to continue. And even after these little moments in which we might have to go sideways or consolidate or get boring, it opens the door for it to continue to be able to push up higher because people are not overdoing it right now. And that allows for long-term macro growth, which is absolutely amazing. So I love what I'm seeing from the fundamentals, especially from more of a zoomed out perspective, and I do think that's great. Now, from a shorter term time perspective, sure, things are still a little bit risky. I mean, we can't pretend they're not. You look at your crypto fear and greed index, this bad boy is all the way up in extreme greed, a little bit lower than it was yesterday, but in extreme greed. You look at your RSI heat map on the 24 hour, here we go. You can see that this bad boy has pushed some things like Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, AVAX, DOT, Ethereum Classic, TRX. A lot of these are sitting in the overbought, overextended zones up there. Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are. Just meaning that we're in a spot right now where purchasing isn't probably the best idea unless you're just doing small batches and then allowing that to play out before doing some casual dollar cost averaging. I definitely wouldn't be going super big on leverage right now or anything like that, especially where Bitcoin is about to, see that full extension on the 1.618 zone. Now, don't forget, guys, if any of this does ever feel extremely complicated with the technicals or with the fundamentals, I will let you know that over in the Patreon, which is currently $5 a month, nothing too crazy, $5 a month. You can see here, $5 a month. I am going to be releasing some beginners courses and classes for all of you. We actually did just release the very first one yesterday, which is technical analysis for beginners. It's a 30-minute course/guide going over exactly what I do, how it works, some of the different beginning vocabulary words and much more. I gave them that 25-minute video. I gave them a PDF, some cheat sheets and much more. I have 4 more of these going out over the next couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. And of course, every single day in there as well, I post my thoughts and insights about news and events, daily technical analysis reports on your favorite cryptos, daily fundamental analysis reports on Bitcoin and the market in general, and much more. So if you are more advanced, I do have an advanced tier coming out soon, but that will be coming out later this week, so stay tuned for that as well. But go check that out if that does interest you. Now, moving into the news, baby. Oh my goodness, it's coming to fruition. It's happening, boys. Michael Saylor to present to the Microsoft board next month on buying Bitcoin for their corporate treasury. Now, you remember this, right? You remember when we saw Microsoft tell their shareholders to vote against investing into Bitcoin. I told you, it's not because they're against it, it's because they want to do it on their own terms. And everybody was like, no, it's Microsoft, a traditional tech giant. They're not going to invest in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to replace them for some way, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there like, no. Companies like this don't want to be forced into doing something. They want to move on their own terms. They're going to put their own team in place. They're going to put their own strategy in place. They don't want to have to. They want to be able to go on their own time frames. So it wouldn't shock me if we see them still do it, even though they're telling their shareholders to not vote for it. And bam, what do you see? Michael Saylor going in, going to be investing, or going to be talking about them, talking to them about investing, of course, into Bitcoin. Now, as you can see here, you don't need to know. I mean, Microsoft holds $78 billion in cash. And so does that mean they're going to go 78 billion deep? No, obviously not. But it is a fantastic sign. And this could be the beginning of what I'm talking about. That domino effect is crazy, guys. And when a traditional tech giant like Microsoft goes in, what do you think is going to happen with the rest of them? Moving on, speaking of MicroStrategy, they are to raise $2.6 billion at 0% to buy more Bitcoin, which is an $850 million increase, of course, due to massive demand. So they're doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, baby. We got now just a little bit of fun news. We see there that Bitcoin is now worth more than JP Morgan, Visa, and MasterCard combined. Eat shit. Credit cards. A little bit more. Grayscale announces options trading will begin on its spot Bitcoin ETF tomorrow. We talked about that in yesterday's video, how I believe that options trading is going to change Bitcoin forever. So go check that out. A couple more things here. Publicly traded publicly traded Huth Therapeutics to buy up to $1 million worth of Bitcoin as a Treasury Reserve asset. Not the biggest news, but you always want to include it up in there. And of course, lastly, Bhutan has now generated officially $1 billion of Bitcoin using previously stranded hydropower resources. So Bitcoin is changing lives, people are investing into it, and things are getting insane. But this news right here is the big piece for me, because I do believe this is going to be the very beginning of that domino effect of those TradFi giants, traditional tech giants, and many more getting into Bitcoin, adding them to their reserves, exactly like Bernstein said would happen in their $250,000 Bitcoin price prediction. And so with that in mind, I mean, absolutely insane day from a technical, fundamental, and news perspective. If you guys did enjoy it, please don't forget, I have this second channel solely to keep you as updated as possible in the world of crypto. So if you do enjoy, smash that subscribe button, like this video down below. While you are down there, don't forget, if you want to trade some Bitcoin on up to 500x leverage, you can check out BTCC. And if you do want to join our private community, that's linked down there for you for just $5 a month. So check that all out down there, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.